instructions in your native language, please visit the U.S. Embassy or Consulate website where you plan to apply to find out whether additional translations are available. Let's get started. Go to www.dvlottery.state.gov to begin the Electronic Diversity Visa Entry, or EDV form, or DS-5501. Select the link for the DV instructions and read them carefully. Select Photo Tool to make sure your pictures meet our photo requirements. Select Begin Entry. Then, type in the authentication code that you see on the screen. 1. Enter your last or family name, first name, and middle name as they appear or will appear in your passport. If your passport does not list a given name, enter FNU. Select the box No Last or Family Name, No First Name, or No Middle Name if they apply to you. 2. Select your gender, male or female. 3. Select your day of birth and month of birth from the drop-down menu. Then enter your year of birth. 4. Enter the city where you were born. Do not enter the district, county, province, or state. Select the box Birth City Unknown if you do not know your city of birth. 5. Select the country where you are born from the drop-down menu. 6. Select Yes if you are claiming eligibility for the DV program based on the country where you were born. If you are claiming the country of birth of your spouse or parent, select No and enter the country you are claiming. It is very important that you enter the correct country of eligibility, otherwise your entry may be disqualified. Next, you will upload a recent photograph of yourself. Review the DV instructions to make sure your photo meets our photograph requirements. You will also find our photo requirements at travel.state.gov/content/visas/general/photos.html. You do not need to include a photograph for your spouse or child who is already a U.S. citizen or a lawful permanent resident, but you will not be penalized if you do. Group photographs will not be accepted. You must submit an individual photograph. Your entry may be disqualified or your visa refused if your photograph is not recent, has been manipulated in any way, or does not meet the specifications explained in our DV instructions at usvisas.state.gov/dv/instructions. 8. Enter your mailing address, including the street, city or town, district, county, province or state, postal code or zip code, and country. 9. Select the country where you live today from the drop-down menu. 10. Enter your phone number. This is optional. 11A. Enter your email address. 11B. Confirm your email address by entering it again. Your email address will be used to provide you with additional information if you are selected. It is important that you provide an email address that you have access to, and that you will still be able to access when selectees are announced several months later. 12. Enter the highest level of education you have achieved as of today. Remember, you must meet the education or work experience requirement at the time you apply for your visa. Please review the educational requirements as explained earlier in this tutorial and in the DV instructions at usvisas.state.gov/dv/instructions. 13. Select your current marital status. Mistakes are often made by applicants who do not select their correct marital status. Failure to complete this information correctly can lead to disqualification from the DV program. Here are some important points to remember about marital status. Select unmarried if you have never been married. Select married if you are legally married, even if you are married but currently separated, no longer live with your spouse, haven't seen your spouse in many years, or even if you plan to be divorced before you apply for a visa. If you are married at the time of your DV entry, but haven't seen your spouse in many years, or plan to be divorced by the time the DV lottery selections are made, you must still list your spouse. If you are selected for the DV lottery, you simply won't submit a visa application, Form DS-260, for your spouse. Only a relationship legally considered to be a marriage in the jurisdiction where it took place establishes eligibility as a spouse for immigration purposes. Civil unions and domestic partnerships are not considered legal marriage for immigration purposes. Same-sex spouses are eligible for the same immigration benefits, including diversity visas, as opposite-sex spouses. Failure to list your eligible spouse will result in your disqualification and refusal of all visas in the case at the time of the visa interview. Select divorced if you are legally divorced from your spouse. Select widowed if you were married, your spouse died, and you are not currently remarried. Select legally separated if a court has formally declared that you and your spouse are legally separated. Legal separation means that your spouse will not be eligible to immigrate as your derivative. Legal separation means you have gone to court and had a separation agreement accepted by the court. This happens when people do not want to divorce yet, but need a formal agreement covering things such as who pays for the shared expenses during the separation, access and custody to any children, and so on. Do not select legally separated if you have simply separated from your spouse but have not yet divorced. A spouse who is already a U.S. citizen or a lawful permanent resident will not require or be issued a diversity visa and does not need to be included on your entry. See the frequently asked questions on our DV instructions for more information about marital status. 14. Enter the number of children you have and select Continue. Mistakes are most often made by applicants who incorrectly enter the number of children they have. Failure to complete this information correctly can lead to disqualification from the DV program. The following are some helpful tips to remember about entering the number of children you have. Here are some important points to remember about entering the number of children you have. List the name, date of birth, gender, city or town of birth, and country of birth for all living unmarried children under 21 years of age, whether or not they are living with you, or whether or not they intend to accompany or follow to join you should you immigrate to the United States. Submit individual photographs of each of your children using the same technical specifications as your own photograph. Be sure to include all living natural children, all living children legally adopted by you, all living stepchildren who are unmarried and under the age of 21 on the date of your electronic entry, even if you are no longer legally married to the child's parent, and even if the child does not currently reside with you and/or will not immigrate with you. Married children and children over the age of 21 are not eligible for the DV. However, the Child Status Protection Act protects children from aging out in certain circumstances. If your DV entry is made before your unmarried child turns 21, and the child turns 21 before visa issuance, he or she may be treated as though he or she were under 21 for visa processing purposes. A child who is already a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident will not require or be issued a diversity visa and does not need to be included on your entry. See the frequently asked questions on our DV instructions for more information about family members. Failure to list all children who are eligible will result in disqualification of the principal applicant and refusal of all visas in the case at the time of the visa interview. If you state that you are married and your spouse is not a U.S. citizen or U.S. lawful permanent resident, and/or you state that you have children, the form will take you to Part 2, Derivatives. If you state that your spouse is not a U.S. citizen or U.S. lawful permanent resident, answer the following questions. 13A through 13C. Enter your spouse's last or family name, first name, and middle name as they appear or will appear in their passport. If their passport does not list a given name, enter FNU. Select the box No Last or Family Name, No First Name, or No Middle Name if they apply to you. 13DA through 13DC. Select your spouse's day of birth and month of birth from the drop-down menu, then enter their year of birth. 13E. Choose your spouse's gender. 13F. Enter the city where your spouse was born, if known. Do not enter district, county, province, or state. Select the box Birth City Unknown if you do not know your spouse's city of birth. 13G. Choose the country where your spouse was born from the drop-down menu. 13H. Upload a recent photograph of your spouse. If you stated that you have a child or children, answer the following questions. 14A through 14C. Enter your first child's last or family name, first name, and middle name as they appear or will appear in their passport. If their passport does not list a given name, enter FNU. Select the box No Last or Family Name, No First Name, or No Middle Name if this applies. 14D. Select your child's day of birth and month of birth from the drop-down menu, then enter their year of birth. 14E. Select your child's gender, male or female. 14F. Enter the city where your child was born, if known. Enter birth city only. Do not enter district, county, province, or state. Select the box Birth City Unknown if you do not know your child's city of birth. 14G. Select the country where your child was born from the drop-down menu. 14H. Upload a recent photograph of your child. You will be required to enter the same information for all living unmarried children under 21 years of age. Select Continue. Review all of the fields in the summary page to confirm that you have entered all information correctly. Then print the summary page for your records. You will need to use your browser's print button for this. If all information is correct, select Continue. A submission confirmation page will be displayed, confirming that your DV program entry has been received. It is extremely important that you print the submission confirmation page or make a note of your confirmation number before closing your browser window. You will need this information to find out if you have been selected in the DV lottery. Keep your submission confirmation page and confirmation number in a safe place. Again, your confirmation number is the only way to find out if you have been selected. Do not allow a visa facilitator